Tonight in Garage Time, we are going to change the rear disc brakes on a 2016 Flex. Fun fact, there are two types. I ordered one kit and it was the wrong kit. You're going to want to check before you order your parts whether you have the heavy duty or standard brakes. There is no way to check other than calling the dealer and running the VIN. If you want to check visually, the heavy duty ones are vented brakes and the standard ones are solid steel. So we are in the garage. As you can see, we're not going to be using the hoist. We're going to be using the scissor jack that came with the vehicle. The bus is still on the hoist. It's about to leave for paint. So we're going to do some of this work on the ground, but as you're going to see, this is a very easy and relatively quick thing to do. So we're going to get the vehicle in the air, take the tire off, and we're going to start changing the brakes. All right, so we have the vehicle jacked up. Just grab the floor jack here just to give it a little bit of safety just in case. Now we're going to loosen the two bolts on the brake caliper, like so. Use that super strength. And then we'll remove the caliper, and then we'll move towards the rotor that we're going to take off. All right, so now that we have the caliper off, there's the caliper bracket. Now, this is the caliper bracket. It bolts to the frame of the truck. And we're going to remove the two bolts in the back. That'll take this off, and then we'll have all the clearance we need to remove the rotor. So I'm going to go ahead and undo those right now. Now we can just manipulate the rotor to go back there. And then with our 15 millimeter socket and a little bit of strength, we will loosen those bolts to get the bracket off. All right, so we've loosened the bracket bolts. They were a bit of a workout, so you can see they're a larger bolt, and the previous person, or a person in the factory, not quite sure, put some blue Loctite. So that made it a little bit more fun. But as you can see, that slides off. My ridiculously worn brake pads are still in there. We can take that off after. As you can see, there's Loctite on the inside. I've never seen that before, but that's all right. So in the factory, they installed this little torque screw. And the reason they do that is not because it actually needs for operation for the rotors to stay to the vehicle. It's just so while it's going down the assembly line, the rotors don't fall off. So it helps to position it. Some people can remove them and put them back on, no problem. Some people remove them, don't put them on or back on at all. That's really up to you. Again, this is not a necessary thing to replace. I always try to, depending if my rotors, the ones I purchase, have the hole or not. But either way, we're going to take that out. It's a Torx T30, and we put that bit on an impact. And very quickly, you'll see it comes off, no problem. Didn't strip it. I can probably reuse it. And depending on the condition of the rotor, I should be able to pull it off. Now, because we're in Canada and we have winter, there is some corrosion that's happened around the hub. That could give us a bit of a challenge. This vehicle has about 60,000 kilometers, 40,000 miles for our American friends. I feel like it should come off, but we'll see with the heat and the salt and the corrosion if it comes off easily. All right, so we tried the rubber mallet from behind. This was really stuck on there. We tried a 5-pound steel hammer, or a baby sledge. And after almost going deaf, I remembered that the smartest thing to do, as you just saw, is to use the impact hammer and go along the circumference of the hub to kind of bust free any of the corrosion that's holding on the hub. And then with doing that, it does slide right off. So now that we have the old rotor off, we're going to open up the box for the new one. We're going to make sure it's the right size. All right, so we've sized it up. It is the exact proper size. And as you may notice, it does have the mounting hole that I was talking about. So that's fantastic. I'm going to reuse that bolt. So I'm going to put this aside quickly. And we're just going to very generously spray the brake cleaner on. With a shop towel. Just gonna give it a good wipe. It's a pretty generous application. Again, I'm also visually looking to see if I see any oil, but I just see the brake cleaner flashing off without much hesitation. So these are definitely ready to go on. And I'll show you how quick and easy that is. Now I do have dirty hands, so I'm going to try and handle it from the part where that attaches to the hub and leave the brake surface as untouched as possible. If Mike wants to follow me over, I'm going to line this up so that my installation hole lines up with this guy. So in my case, it's like this. And then what I'll do is I will hand tighten this guy. All right, so I'm just prepping the bracket here to make sure that the sliders are clean and the brake pads will be able to move as they're supposed to without binding up on gunk or anything like that. It's a 1 minute step. Good. That side's good. So other than the bracket itself being dirty as it would be, the parts that I don't want to be dirty right now are clean. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put this back on the truck, and then we're gonna put new brake pads on. All right, so as you can see, the bracket, I just did the bolts hand tight. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten them, and then we're gonna put the brake pads on right after. All right, so we have the bracket back on. I inspected these pins, the slider pins, and if Mike wants to come a little closer, they move without obstruction. They are in perfect shape. So I'm not gonna break the seal, and what I mean by the seal is this rubber boot connects into there. To replace the silicone because it's perfect. So we'll leave it as is. If the next brake job or if I start to notice that through regular maintenance that it's not traveling back and forth quickly or properly, then we can pull it out, clean it, use the ceramic brake lubricant and put them back in. But there's really no point at this time. So this, I am gonna put just a teeny bit along the surface that the shoes travel on, and by shoes I mean pads. And it's ceramic, and it's made specifically for brakes. Now the reason this is important is in the summertime, in hard braking conditions, these generate a lot of heat. So this will not break down with those heat cycles going really hot, really cool, really hot, really cool. It's really what they're made for. So I'm gonna put just a little teeny bit, again, just so the pads can travel. And then we will get the shoes on. And I use it very sparingly. So as you can see, I'm just putting a teeny bit on my pinky finger. And I'm just gonna very lightly, without touching the rotor, just make contact with this little piece of hardware. And I'm using so little, I can still feel it on the glove. So there we go. My glove still has, there we go, still has a little bit on it, but you don't need a lot. It's just enough to make things move properly. And with that, we will go ahead and put our brake pads on. So the brake pads we're using today are carbon ceramic by Max Brakes. On Amazon, they have a phenomenal rating. They're certainly the right price in comparison to the dealership. And they claim to be 30% longer in terms of lifespan over the OEM from Motorcraft in this case. And being a carbon ceramic, I don't see where they could really go wrong. The formula is pretty much standard across the board. There's carbon metallic and carbon ceramic. Now, just kind of a quick difference between the two of them. Carbon metallic is made from iron filings and different compounds to form it into the shape, so different glues and whatever compounds to kind of make it to the solid mass. They're really good for heavy duty applications. So if you have a vehicle that's towing trailers or towing very heavy loads, the carbon metallic are very good in terms of braking power and those heat cycles I spoke about. Carbon ceramic, on the other hand, they're known for their lifespan and being very quiet. So being a family hauler, we're not towing with this. I am picking up a pickup truck in the very near future. You'll probably see an episode on that. But for the application that we're using the flex for, the carbon ceramic is going to be our best bet because it's going to give us a longer lifespan. They're going to be quiet and they're going to last a long time. And the other neat part is carbon metallic have a lot of brake dust, whereas carbon ceramic has less, and the brake dust that it does have is more of a white powder versus kind of that metally sticks to everything brake dust you see on normal vehicles, I guess you would say. So this is why I chose these. As time goes on, we'll keep doing little updates here and there. I'll let you know how that goes. But the reviews on Amazon were fantastic, so I decided this was the way to go. And we're gonna get these bad boys installed. So in the kit, it comes with 2 pads for each side. You'll notice one has a little tab, which is right here. And this one doesn't. This is your wear indicator. So what that does is as you wear down the brake, it'll get to a point where this will start to make contact with the rotor and start making a squealing noise. That'll tell you it's time to change your brakes. There's only a little bit left. When that squealing noise stops, it means you've gone past that. You're getting close to the metal backing and you need to change your brakes before you put yourself in an unsafe situation. There is no specific place to put this, rear or front. I usually like to put it in the front. It just gives me a quick visual. If I ever swap my tires, I can see very quickly how much wear I'm at. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on. As you can see, I'm not touching the pad. I'm trying not to contaminate it. But as you see, it just kind of slides in. This metal hardware guides it into the right place. And I'm just gonna push it against, and that's it, it's on. So we're gonna do the same for the back. And then once the back's on, we're going to take the brake caliper. We're gonna push the piston back in. We're gonna show you how to do that with a vise or even the C-clamps that I have. And then once that's on, we'll bolt it back on and then we're almost done. All right, so we're gonna turn it slowly, but as you're gonna see, as it turns, the boot kind of deflects its shape a bit. So give it a second, let the cylinder go back in. We don't wanna rip the boot. Ripping the boot just means we'll get dirt inside and then you'll eventually have to replace your brake caliper because you'll get dirt inside, it'll get through the seal, it'll break the seal. And once that seal is broken, it's not as simple as going to the bathroom. Some good potty humor. Once that seal is broken, that's it. I mean, the clearances on the inside are very, very small. All right, so we've got the cylinder all the way back. So I'm gonna take the tool off. And as you can see, it's right back. And now, the moment of truth, does it fit? The answer is it does fit. There we go. So we'll just bolt that back on. We'll get the tire on. And we're done. All right, so we got the caliper back on. Top bolt is tight. I'm just doing the bottom one. Then we'll just make sure all of our fasteners, all of our bolts are tight as they should be. We'll throw the wheel back on. And then we are done our brake job. All right, so everything's tightened up. It's been double checked, it's good to go. I'm gonna remove our safety jack. And then we're gonna throw the wheel back on. Now, make sure you know how to put a wheel on, but I'll get this started very quickly. All right. I'm gonna throw this on here. And the other one here. But in a nutshell, that's how you replace the rear brakes on a Ford Flex. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you out there.